Hi everyone, it's Suey here to tell you about what I've read in January and what I plan to read in February. So in January, I managed to do 4 books, which I know sounds not that great, but it's a pretty good start for me. I'd say pretty good start. First book of the year is The Love Letters of Abelard and Lily by Laura Creedle. Talked a little bit about this one in previous videos, but I did finish this right off the bat, the first of the year. This is a book that I got a hold of this past summer when I went to Pal's bookstore in Oregon, and it is about a girl who has ADHD and a boy who has is on the autism spectrum, and they get together in a kind of a funny way and they bond over a book called The Love Letters of Abelard and Heloise, which is who Abelard in this book is actually named after. It's a really cute YA romance with some characters that aren't typical that we see in other YA books. So, and I really enjoyed it. And I think I gave this one 4 stars on Goodreads. And then for book club, we read My Grandmother Asked Me to Tell You She's Sorry by Frederick Bachman. All my book club friends really enjoy this author. We've read a couple of things by him now. I think this is the 3rd book we've read by him. And I still have a couple on my shelf that I need to get to, but this one was a really fun one about a girl who narrates the story of how she's really good friends with her grandmother, and then her grandmother dies and kind of sends her on this little interesting kind of a treasure hunt that makes her realize the connections between all the people that are in the apartment building that they live in. And it's really awesome. I gave this one 4 stars on Goodreads, probably just because I felt like maybe I had to suspend my disbelief that a 7-year-old kid was doing all the things she was doing. So that kind of took me out of the story just a little bit. I just love this author. He is able to write characters like pretty much no other author I know of. He's amazing. The character development. Then I read this one off my shelves for the Read What You Own challenge, An Ember in the Ashes by Sabah Tahir. And I remember this one being really popular quite a while back. And in fact, it's interesting, I got this one at Pal's bookstore too in 2016 when we were on a trip to Portland. So that's funny that I read 2 books from Pal's this past month. But anyway, I remember hearing a lot about it, but I didn't really know what it was about. But it's a kind of a fantasy world, and there's a lot of different groups of people, and our girl is in the group that's most oppressed, and the boy is in the highest up group. Basically, his people, the bad people, come and capture her brother, and so now her motivation for the whole book is to try and rescue her brother who's been taken to prison, and she is getting help with the rebellion people, the people who are trying to take back their place in the world. She's getting help from them as long as she goes and spies at this school where our guy has just graduated from in order to be the bad guys. That's really simplifying it quite a bit. But he is sick to death of what he's involved in, and he has plans to escape. But if he's caught, then he is killed. But he's so tired of being there and really wants to leave. So now she is in his where he's at, being a slave as a spy. They say that they'll get her out, and then all this other stuff happens. But that's the premise. I feel like I gave tons away, but that's literally just the premise of the whole story. And I was very caught up in it, and I read it really fast, even though it's quite a big book. And I am anxious to keep going. So one of my books for February is the next book. I'll get to that in a minute. This was 5 stars just because I was so involved in it, and I absolutely was on the edge of my seat the whole time. And then the 4th book I read, I just finished a couple days ago, called Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. And this is kind of another fantasy book, but in an 1800 world. Now, sometimes I know those are kind of like steampunk, but this one didn't feel steampunk to me either. Historical fantasy is, I guess, what you call these. Tell me if I'm getting my genres right. I don't know. So old time world, but with magic. And our girl lives in a library, and she was raised there by the director of the library because she was an orphan, so all her life. And libraries are interesting in this world because the books are alive. They're called grimoires, if I'm saying that right. They have souls and thoughts, and you can talk to them. Some people can talk to them, and they make noises and they come alive, and anyway, but they can turn bad. And so our girl, her changing moment is when one of these books turns bad and she has to kill it. And then she's sent off to be interrogated by the sorcerers, who are the ones that have the magic, which the librarian people think is bad. Magic is bad in this world. And they get their magic by having a demon that is bonded to them. And that's how they are able to have magic. And it's really very beautifully written and a rich, beautiful world. And I really enjoyed it. There's a lot of fighting and violence and sword fights and crazy stuff like that. And sometimes with those kinds of books, I have a hard time visualizing, but with this one, the description and the writing was pretty spot on and made me able to understand what was going on, if that makes sense. It was good. It was really good. I feel like I had a great reading month. Even though I only did 4 books, I was able to make all these books fit one or more of my challenges, but I only managed to get 1 book. Actually, I counted this one. These 2, Read What You Own, because I got this one before that challenge started. So yes, I counted those, but other ones I got from the library. Anyway, in February, so I mentioned that I did go to the library and get the 2nd book of The Amber and the Ashes. This one's called A Torch Against the Night. And the story of our 2 people continues. It's told from all 3 points of view this time. The other one was 2 points of view. So we follow the other girl also. And I think they have many crazy adventures ahead. So I really want to know what happens next. And then when I was going through my shelves the other day, I found this book, which I decided I had to read right away. And so it can count towards my Read What You Own, because I got it off my shelf. I think Tori got it for Christmas a couple years ago by an author that I really enjoy, Brian Catcher. And so I started it. And so that will be probably my first book I finish this month. Also, when I was doing the other video that I talked about Kang Hyun and hit stuff that he loves, I grabbed these 2 off the shelf and will read them, or one of them, I'm not sure which. Siddhartha and Leo, there's 3 short stories of Leo Tolstoy in this one. And I'm going to read it, one of them, I haven't decided yet. I'm gonna figure out, maybe both, I don't know. We'll see how it goes on that. And then I think this is the one I got from the bookstore a while back, and I think it will take me like an hour or less just to go through it. So someday when I just want to, I'm going to go through this one, and that will count towards that challenge for that bookstore, and just be fun. And also, I've got to grab that one. Also, I'll be reading The Last Anniversary by Leanne Moriarty for book club this coming month. And she's another favorite author of all the book club people, and we pretty much read one of her books every year. So that's the one on the schedule for this year. So I'll be starting that one pretty soon. And then I would also like to read something for the forced phase thing I'm doing, British Monarchy. I don't know if Sober will become available by that time. If not, then I will find something else off my shelf that I don't think I've read yet, or go to the library and find something about somebody. I don't know yet on that one, but I'm hoping I can at least read 1 book that will count towards that little project. And that's all I have planned at this moment that I can think of. So we'll see how I do next month. I hope you all had a great month of reading in January. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you think, what your plans are for this coming month. And I know it's a short month, so hopefully we can fit all the things in we want to do. There's so many books to read. So many books to read. And if you are following along, I have been going through my shelves book by book, and that's why I am stressed about how many books on my shelves I haven't actually read. So hopefully I can get to at least some of them this year. And yes, follow along with us. We'll be doing part 3 soon. I've got part 1 and 2 up. We'll be doing part 3 here in a little bit. That will finish off the YA section, and then we'll be doing the classic section after that, which I know some of you have been looking forward to. So I hope you're enjoying that. In the meantime, have fun reading. Talk to you next time. Bye.